Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 109, the one where we talk to Alison Walker all about her running career, but also her recent win at Race Across Scotland. Be prepared, it's a long way. The Run to the Hills podcast is sponsored by Chia Charge. Thank you, Chia Charge, for making such delicious, nutritious, tasty, and easily digestible flapjacks and nut butters, including a delicious vegan range. I'm still loving the protein bars, but I'm getting dangerously low. But don't worry, because in my diary, I actually have a note saying, ship more Chia Charge bars, because Mummy and Daddy, Granny and Grandpa Sutton are coming out for half term.
Awesome.
And they're going to bring a shipment. Don't tell customs. If anybody's listening, don't tell customs. Last time I got Chia Charge, have I told you this story? No. I got Chia Charge bars shipped to Mum and Dad to bring out, and they forgot them. So
yes,
fine, I'll get them when I get them. And then when I went down, I went, Mum, have you got those flapjacks? She's like, oh, we really enjoyed. We had one every day at 11 o'clock with our cup of tea. And I was like, Mum, they're not like the sort of you two old people that just walk around the fields. You should be eating 400 calories worth of delicious Chia Charge. You don't need that. You have a digestive.
The protein's topped up.
I might have to give her one. I might have to give the deliveries. The porters, one or two. Thank you, Chia Charge, so much for sponsoring the show. Go and check them out at www.chiacharge.co.uk. Gary, you're extremely bright today.
Yeah, I've got my long sleeves. Definitely winter is on the way. The heating's come on. So yeah, long sleeves today. But it's funny, you think it's going to be cold, and then 5 minutes into your run, you're stripping off. It's that kind of... No,
I didn't get that today. So I went danger. Gary's just said he's turned his heating on. How do we feel about that, everybody? It's September the 27th of the recording day.
I didn't turn it on. We've had this chat. The thermostat just came on.
Thermostat. No heating till November. I might get a T-shirt with that on. I just delayed, and I actually showed Gary a bit of flesh because he showed a bit of flesh in his vlog, and I said, I've got 1, 2, 3, and big news yesterday, the thermal vest went on. I do not go anywhere without an M&S. Honestly, if you're worried about heating bills, M&S thermal vest and pants. And you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
We're all walking on with ponchos on in our house. Big woolly ponchos.
The thing is, though, however many layers you get on, if you're sitting working, slowly the cold creeps up. And look at my fingers. They're
no. The Reynards.
A bit Reynards already in. Anyway, how are you? Where are you? What's occurring this week?
Tuesday, Monday, it was quite good. Nice little couple of easy runs with Rex. But yeah, the week. Last week, I know you know.
Here we go. What happened? I looked at your Strava because it was quite low to your normal heavy mileage. And I got trapped into your vlog because it said 100 miles. And I was like, has he run 100 miles this week? The little rat bag.
No, last week was just not a good week. Tuesday is obviously the podcast day, and it was just a big day. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't fit it all in. So I missed the workout there. And I thought, well, I'll do it Wednesday. I've got cross country. So I was always like, well, I'm going to have a hard run Saturday, no matter what. That was fine. Wednesday was mega busy. Thursday, we had to go to some...
what is mega busy about your life, Gary? Don't you just stand on Zoom and make vlogs?
Well, yeah, they do take a long time. You know what? I have asked myself this question quite often. It's like, I'm so busy, but what the hell am I doing? But then Thursday was legitimate. I had to go and take Esme to some speech evening at the school she's at.
Oh, it's when you get those school meetings in the evening, and you're like, oh, it throws everything.
Well, this school is another level. This school is another level for meetings that we're going to at the moment. But I thought that would all kind of fade away with sixth form, but no, still carrying on. So yeah, Thursday couldn't happen. And then Friday, I did find out some time, and like I mentioned in the vlog, I really don't like 2 hard sessions back to back, 2 days where you do a hard session, and that's what I ended up doing. I had a little panic.
You didn't. Why did you do that?
Because I'm a massive idiot and insecure, I think. That's all.
I couldn't do that. I would start the next day and my thighs would be like two concrete pillars, and it would take me 2 hours to warm up.
Well, I just mustn't run hard enough, I think, because I was tired. Yeah, definitely cross country. I knew I'd had a big run the day before in my legs. You know, the heart rate suggests I'm working hard, but maybe I've got this central governor that just eases off when that last 5%, while yours doesn't calibrate the same as mine.
I think you need to do some Swift races, and then you'll know how high your heart rate can go.
Oh, wow.
Were you pretty tired then, cross country? How did it go?
Fine. Well, I scored. I was a scorer, so I always enjoy that. But I start from the slow pack, so I'd have to have a pretty bad day. And Sedgefield, I think, were 8th for that fixture. So we just want to survive in Division 2. That's our goal for this year. So, you know, it's really good. I love cross country. Again, I mentioned this on the vlog, people who like running trails, if they're kind of conscious about money or they just want to be part of a team, cross country is just awesome. And like me, who was struggling with workouts that week, was nailed on something was going to happen on Saturday, and you know, no avoiding it.
How long is your cross country race?
It is, well, this one is just a bit under 10k actually. Okay. They could be anywhere between, like, say, 5.7 to 6.2. It just depends on.
Okay, they're roughly about like 45 minutes, depending on the terrain. 40
Yeah,
minutes.
I think that was 40 minutes, and it was pretty much exactly the same time as I posted last year. So at least I've not gone.
How much climbing do they tend to have, or is it like?
No, this course isn't a lot. I don't know what the elevation was. I never looked at that. It's not a reckonting out of all the courses because of the time of year and just its course. It's quite an easy course, to be honest, as far as climbing. But it's really weird. I've said this before, considering all the time I spent in the lakes. As soon as I hit a hill, I am just not fast at all. I can go flying down the hills, no problem, and the flat speeds, okay. But you put a hill there, and I just seem to crumble. I don't know what it is, but yeah, really enjoyed that. I try to think anything else. I didn't marshal. I said I was going to marshal up at Trail Outlaws, bid at them on the Sunday in the middle.
I can't remember. Don't listen to a lot of what you say, to be honest.
Well, I didn't realise that. So I said I was going to marshal, and they said, yeah, that's fine. Luckily, I checked because it's a military base and you can't just go and rock up on military bases. You have to be on a list, and my name never made it onto the list. But luckily on Saturday evening, I checked if my name was on the list and it wasn't. So unfortunately, I couldn't go. Good job I checked, but it's a shame. I missed it's such a wicked venue.
Gary from the podcast, and was the guy like, oh,
oh, if only you'd said it.
He said that earlier. No, still not coming in.
And then I think, yeah, got the vlog out. There was a bit of flesh on the vlog. So
honestly, listeners, this vlog is take over his life, but also there is a bit of flesh. I mean, small children look away. I was shocked to see the midriff while I was eating my tea.
But I might, you made a good point, actually. I might delay the vlog a week because obviously the vlog goes out on a Monday and the show goes out on a Friday. So you kind of know what I've been up to. If you watch the vlog.
Too much, Gary. It's too much. It's too much for everybody to take on. It's never too much, Gary. We know that, but it's just too much to take on board.
Information. So I think I'm just looking through anything else. No, that is pretty much my week. What about you?
Good. Last week. Last week, single parenting week. Oh my God, they're full on. There's like no let up. No one can do anything outside the schedule. if people WhatsApp going, it's also like to come. No, I can't do anything. I can't come out of the tracks or else it all falls apart. Another 2 Swift races down, 2 more down last week. Cool. An individual one. Carrie, I was slightly better. I didn't push as hard as the start, so I didn't go into first position and then have an almighty blowout. So I pushed, but I kind of kept a rep on it. And then I did get dropped again, but it was a bit longer. I don't know how long because the blood was coming out my eyeballs. But then I got onto the second pack and then I managed to stay with them quite comfortably without too much. And I was even comfortable enough, like you get these little I don't know what the word is, but you get you get these little power-ups, they're called. So like a computer game. So I could even take my hands off the handlebars and try those at appropriate moments. So it was a little bit better. It was less, I was about just 5 beats lower heart rate, and I was able to work on my drafting. And so there's a definite improvement. And I was only about 3 watts lower than the week before. So a little bit more confident in my ability.
But you're definitely more sprightly.
I was a bit more sprightly. I could push a bit more if somebody went off, I was able to like catch up with them. But it was an undulating course, which as a cyclist I used to love as well, like power up, down, up and down, less climbing. Then we had a little practice of our time trial, which is tonight. So in a team course, we get on this radio channel, and somebody who's not doing the race then tells us where to go in the pack. Gary, I was not only the weak link, so I was just on the back, and they were just like, take the shortest turn, Eddie, and it's a bit humiliating, isn't it, when they're like, take the shortest turn, and you're like, oh, I'm an athlete, me, honestly, I'm an athlete. I was like, come on, swallow your pride, just do it. So I just stuck in at the back, but every so often I'd have to work really hard if there was an artwork and I couldn't get the drafting, and then I'd shoot past them. I would ruin it all. I'd be like, oh no, I've ruined it again. Sorry guys, try and get back in line. We got better. I was able to hang on. I did a couple of times I had to go, slow down, because I was like, just going to have to say it, because otherwise it was hard. It's early days. I've now done 5. I mean, they've all done like over 100 races, and it's definitely, and I did read on the Facebook, I've gone so deep with this now. I did read on the Facebook forum, and loads of people saying like the first season of these races, you just get thrown. It's just so hard. But I had an easy, so again, anyway, running wise, last week was good. I ticked all my sessions, did my hill reps, did manage. So I planned my week a little bit differently. I did my hill reps on Monday, raced on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I wasn't as destroyed because I did go to sleep as well. So I was able to.
I remember last week you had a shocker.
Last week was a shocker. I was able to do 10 miles interspersed with driving the kids everywhere. Every time I like had 15 minutes, I was like, clock up another couple of miles. And I just kept the dogs in the van, and I just kept getting them out going, come on, quick, another 20 minutes. So I was able to run on Wednesday. And then some more longer runs, long run Thursday. Beautiful. We did a bit of bushwhacking. I wanted to do a bit more technical trails. Sometimes I feel I'm a bit lazy that I just run on all the trails. I know every stone and rock, as people probably know. So I was like, I'm going to go off and do a bit of exploring, and then a bit more biking. And then I just managed to fit in my moderate paced run as well, which then Garmin lost off my watch.
What?
Rage. Is there anything worse? So I did my moderate run in the rain, because it's rained for about 2 weeks now. And so proud. I was like, I have done 2 Swift races. I've done hill reps. I've done a long run, done my moderate run. What a week. And then my watch died in the battery, and the run was on the watch, but I couldn't get it off. And I spent far too much time, Gary. Oh my God. So anyway, but I got on my sessions feeling good. This week is my last week of lovely running with just doing the same sessions. And next week, the pack comes out and we get serious. Ooh. We get serious, man. So my last hill reps will be this week without a pack and all that sort of stuff. But I feel I've put myself in a really good place post-injury. Yeah. I pretty much had, I think, about 6 weeks now where I've had 2 weeks quite hard training and then a sort of easier week. I've repeated that cycle a few times. I feel the running is back. I've got no excuses, basically. I feel pretty fit. I feel pretty good. I definitely feel all this hard biking. Now when I'm running uphill, I'm like, easy, man. There's nobody shouting in my ear not to get dropped. It's easy. I feel in a really good place. We've sorted all our recce, booked all the accommodations. So I'm coming over in November to do the second half of the Spine Race with some celebrity guests. I'll tell more about that in a later show. So in a good place. The only other non-running bit of news, because I know people love family news as well, is on Sunday we had the football club lotto, and as parents, as you know, we have to do a lot of volunteering for all, and my kids are in all these different clubs, and and it always seems to be me that ends up doing these volunteer. Anyway, they said, who can volunteer? So I was like, okay, yeah, I can help. And I always think it's quite good for the French-English relations. It's good for my friend to go and chat and make friends and stuff. Can you push the trolley around during this? I didn't really even know what this football lotto was during the lotto and sell sandwiches. I was like, I can do that, no problem. Can you get here at 3? No problem. It was this enormous event, Gary, over 600 people in this hall.
Ooh,
I was given this massive bum bag full of, must have been about €1,000. It was quite heavy. It was a good core workout. I didn't just have sandwiches. Oh, no. I had 3 flavors of sandwiches. I had cans, I had bottles, I had all these drinks. And I was like, oh my gosh, so many people. I was like, this is I'm going to have to walk around with this trolley. Anyway, I was like, Bryn, can you do it with me? Because I'm really scared. I think we need 2 people because of the noise. I was like, I'm not going to be able to hear and then do the money answer. And he was well up for it.
Yay.
Started at 3, pushing our trolley around all these people, making a raging profit. We were like, Bryn got so into it. He was following people like the guy that went and bought chips. He was like, follow him. He's going to be salty and thirsty. And we can it was all fine. 3 o'clock we started. 7:30, I started feeling a little bit tired, Gary.
Oh, that is a long
my God. I'd had an 18-hour training week. My legs were I was like starting to proper lean on the trolley going. I also started opening one too many canned soft drinks for myself.
You don't get any steps either when you're pushing the trolley.
Oh no, stop it.
Yeah.
Hell, the woman that was in charge started looking at me as I clicked open another Perrier can. Anyway, we did our bit, but oh my God, 5 hours was it? We walked around with that trolley selling drinks, the bum bag just getting heavier and heavier. But the best thing that came out of it, the kids just played the lotto the whole time, which was like a bingo on speed, but they took it all so seriously. Total silence while he's calling the numbers. Any kids that make noise have to leave the room. It's brilliant, and it's so French. Anyway, Rory, middle child, made like a bandit, and we won about 4 times.
Sweet.
So there were 15 bingo rounds, and Rory won. You can see there's big cardboard box behind me, a full-size table tennis table.
No way.
The kids and all the kids that will come there, all they wanted was this table tennis table. And Rory, so you say carton when you win, and Rory was like shaking because he was like, I've got to sit in front of all these people. We won a day's hire of electric bike. We won 5 entries to the swimming pool. We won a meal for 2 at the really
bullseye. It was
like bullseye. There was like this huge thing of prizes, and the Suttons, by the end, they were like, oh my God, the Sutton family are coming up again. Anyway, it was great. Do these things for the kids. Oh my God, my leg. By the end, I had to come home and have 4 cups of tea and 2 crumpets to recover.
George with a table tennis table, I'd be thinking, where is that going to go?
Anyway, the kids have wanted, so we've got one of those nets that stretch across the table. They love table because the French love all the campsites and everywhere they play table. They have their own bats, the kids. They take them to school to play table tennis.
Serious.
So they love it. So we are going to have to, Bryn started setting it up last night, and at about 9:15, I went, I think you should stop now because there's a lot of, you haven't made my tea, basically.
Neglecting me.
What a week, but feeling pumped. I'll let you know when that lottery's on next year. Anybody wants to come over and win some prizes.
Well, you're full of energy considering you've been on your feet for all that time.
One of the prizes was a holiday for 2 in Crete. Prizes were incredible.
That would have been good. Come on, imagine coming home from that. Oh, just won a holiday for 2 in Crete.
I think the kids are happier with the table tennis table.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to running. Oh my goodness, Berlin Marathon. I mean,
Someone else had a good week. Yeah.
Yes. Do you think Chia Charge? Do you think he liked? I bet he plays a bit of table tennis, doesn't he?
So 30 seconds off his own world record, 2:01.09 in the marathon. I think it was like something like 4.5 minute miling.
It is 4.5 minute miling, because when I read it, I was like 4.5 minute Ks. I was like, no, and then I was like, oh no, it's 4. I couldn't sprint. I find getting my Garmin to say 5 something is quite hard work.
Well, yeah, if I ever do strides, it's a good point. If I ever do strides, and 100 meters is enough on a stride, I think I'll get to about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, and it feels like you are absolutely flying. You're like, I'm as fast. You can't comprehend it.
Can't comprehend it. But you saw it has been all over Facebook, all of his 5K splits. It's been, and honestly, metronome. Unbelievable. What I think is great, actually, because I think, was it one of the London Marathon events where they ran laps of kind of horse guards parade and stuff like that, and he didn't have a great day that day. I think he did drop off. He didn't win that event. And there's a bit of noise, was it Kipchoge? Is this kind of the end of Kipchoge? And but no, rocks up Berlin a few years later. smashes it.
Women's race, equally as impressive, with Tigis Asefa. I don't know if I said that right. Sorry, running 2:15 for the third fastest marathon time in history, just behind Paula Radcliffe. And from a British perspective, I love this, Sonia Samuels. She's been on the scene for a long time. Her 2 hours, 28:15 seconds, her fastest time in 7 years, wow, with almost identical halfway splits of 74:06 and 74:09. Do you know how old she is, Gary? 2:28 marathoner.
Oh, well, I don't actually. I do now, but I see it on the script, but I didn't.
Being so good pretend it's not on the script. 43. She's 43, Gary. Amazing.
Still crushing it.
Still crushing it. Still getting faster. So
have you ever done I know it's just a few seconds on a positive split. Have you ever negative split a marathon?
I don't think I've ever run. I think you're not talking to the right person.
2:52, Eddie. Oh, no, you're PB.
I don't think I've ever run a marathon knowing what my halfway times are, apart from knowing that I'm dying.
Yeah. But 2:15 as well for the ladies. 2:28. I just can't even comprehend these times. They're so fast.
So fast. Not so fast, but probably, and a lot more fun and a lot more in our tool set here. We have the Two Breweries Fell Race, 18 miles, 4,900 feet, won by Alistair Mason in 2 hours, 48 seconds, and Catriona Graves in a very speedy 3:09, followed hot on her heels by Jasmine Paris. Nice to see her back, and Meryl Cooper, former friend of the show as well. That looks a great race.
And a stacked field. Wow.
Stacked field. It's one to turn up at.
And Trail Outlaws RAF Spidadam Half Marathon, the race I should have been marshalling at. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But
they let all the people in. These people were on the list.
Yeah, Richard Bateson took the win for Blythe Running Club, and 1 hour 30 and 26. That's pretty good for a trail. I'm not too sure the elevation and all this, the stats on it, but yeah, for a trail half marathon, 1.5 hours is pretty good. And Joanne Beckett from Crook AC, 1:46:58 for the ladies. Well done, amazing, everybody. Thanks again to all our Patreon members, keeping the mics and lights on. Eddie, we've got 19 super supporters over on Patreon.
Teeny little golden stars.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled over there. If we've got any guests coming up that we think you guys might like to ask some questions to, we'll reach out over on Patreon. It was a big help last week, actually. We got some questions for Alison, so that was awesome.
There's a lot of work going on in the background. When I say a lot of work going on, I'm doing a lot of work in the background, guys. Let's not pretend.
Eddie's grafting.
Eddie's grafting with some new concepts, new ideas, new people to introduce, new interviews, all coming along nicely. And that little bit of extra support just allows me that little bit of extra time to go and hassle people, basically.
But yeah, keep an eye out on Patreon. There will be some opportunities to get involved with the show popping up over there.
This week, we talk to Alison Walker, an Innovate ambassador and a member of the Chorus Malaysia elite team. Fresh, I say fresh, it was a few weeks ago, but well, it sounds good on the podcast. Fresh from her victory at Run Across Scotland. We talk all about her move from lap running to trails, how she's embracing those slower miles on the trails, which Gary and I love so much. And right at the end, if you hang on that long, there's a celebrity appearance from the cutest dog I've ever met called Chai. Here's our chat with Alison. Alison, welcome to Run to the Hills podcast. We start as we always start. Where are you? Have you been for a run today? And what's the view from your window? I can see you're right next to a window.
Yeah, I am at home. I'm in Hampton Bridge. I just came back from the lakes yesterday. And yeah, I'm not been for a run yet because I've got a stupid session later.
You're putting it off. You put it off.
Yeah, I usually do sessions like not in the morning. So I'll do it at lunchtime. And the view from my window is...
look at that. We're being shown the most beautiful... Looks like a sort of old mill factory, maybe, just down there.
Yeah, I don't know if I've done this right.
That is lovely. It's one for YouTube listeners. Pop over to YouTube to check out the view.
Green, classic English.
This
Did
is
you say? I didn't hear, Alison, where you said that you were. Where are you based?
Yeah, I live in Hebden Bridge.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, checkpoint one of the spine.
Well, soon. What's your session this at lunchtime that you're dreading?
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Like, I think it's 12 times 2 minutes of hills with very little recovery. I've only just started coming back to structured plan after a race across Scotland. So yeah, it's just the initial like, no, I just like jogging, leave me alone.
Sounds amazing. Sounds a great session. You can't wait to get stuck in. The nice thing about a hill session, though, is like rather than a flat session, you can just like, this is what I always tell myself, is you can kind of just let the hill do the work for you. You don't have to like try and push because your heart rate's just going to go up, and you can just run up it and your heart rate will go up. Like on a flat session, when you're trying to go pace, I find that much harder than just like running up a hill, and the hill kind of just makes you work hard anyway.
But I come from a very road background, so for me it's like I find the roads easier.
Okay.
I know, like,
so
what is a good pace, and then I go, oh, okay, and then so now it's like hill session. What do you mean by hill session? Like, and there are no roads, like not many roads around here unless you want to run next to cars.
Is that a struggle if you wanted to do, like you say, a structured, more of a pace orientated session where you lived because it's pretty hilly?
Yeah. So I tried to train for a 24-hour race here at the start of the year, and no, I like, I'll go into it a bit later, but it's just, it's difficult unless you want to run laps around a 400-meter park all day, which I can do, but it's just kind of like, we've got a canal, but a lot of the canal has got, like, these things that go over the overflows, so like these little narrow planks. So it's kind of like, you're ruining my stride.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just get really annoyed on these sessions. It's like, and then cobbles and like geese that try and bite you, and you're like, oh. So yeah, no, I'll just go on the moors now. I'm just happy on the moors because there's no one around. Or maybe some cows, but yeah, it's all right.
I hear sometimes, I listen to one of the podcasts, athletes say they do find like a mile loop, and they'll just kind of keep doing that loop, and they have the little drink station set up, and part of me thinks that's awesome, but then part of me thinks, my goodness, that sounds absolutely dreadful to incorporate that on my training. It's too much admin for me. So
when I used to live in London, I moved up about 2 years ago during COVID. Literally running to the hills. But I used to only run around Victoria Park in London. I don't know whether you know where that park is.
Yeah.
It's just it's a 3-mile loop, and I will be very happy running around all day. Because you got water fountains, and then you just have some water, and it's flat. It's a different type of running. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you came more from the roads, and now obviously we know you as an innovative spotted athlete in the race across Scotland. Could you share with us a bit about your journey from the roads to the trails?
Yeah, so I started running properly maybe like 2019, and like there's this guy in London who owns a running shop called The Running Works. I don't know whether you've come across. So his name is Peter McHugh, and he owns this company called Run Fast. So I got that. He was my first coach, and he basically took me under his wing and tried, because I was running, but I wasn't really racing, if you get what I mean. So he then pushed me a lot and like got me involved in like, why don't you try and race marathon and like do all these things. I was like, Peter, these marathons, like I find them really hard. And he's like, oh, try ultras. So like, okay, fine, try and do some ultras. And then I did quite a few ultras in 2019. Like I did because I wanted to qualify for Spartathlon. And then realized it was going to be really hot, so that dropped off quite quickly. And then so I started doing like 100 milers, did a track 24-hour race in Tooting. I think it's now the Battersea 24-hour race. So it was kind of doing quite well, I think, in those type of road ultra races. And I was quite enjoying it because it's quite metronomic. Like you just like run and then like zone out, and then you see lots of people around the track and you chat with all the people around the track, and like it's all quite fun. And and then lockdown happened, and then actually a lot of my A races got cancelled that year. So I felt really down because my build up was going really well. Like I did 100K and I managed to like push it down to like 9 something. And I was like, oh, actually, this means I'll be able to do a really good 24-hour race in 6 weeks. And then obviously that all got cancelled. And I was like, oh, like, so yeah, and then moved up north. And then it's just different now. It's just put your watch away because it's kind of irrelevant.
Why did you move up north? Was it for the running or job? Or
I just got a bit bored with London. Like I've lived in London for 10 years. Like it's kind of, it all got a bit close and all a bit busy. Victoria Park used to be one of these nice places where you could run and like, you know, not see many people or, you know, have like a, like just be able to run and de-stress. Whereas like during lockdown, it just ended up becoming like just lots of people everywhere, people walking all across the pavement, like not really giving, and then cyclists being idiots. And then it's just like, and it just all felt too much and a bit claustrophobic because I live just overlooking the park in Victoria Park. So every time I open the window, I'm just like, oh, so many people. It stopped becoming that peaceful place for me. And then obviously working from home, and then you're just there all the time. And I just didn't really, I just didn't like it anymore. And then we spent some time up north during after COVID when things opened up, staying in the Dales, stayed in Hampton Bridge, and I thought actually could just try and move up here. And then it wasn't really running motivated, but I did enjoy running up here. I mean, it's hard because I've never seen trails like this. Like, I mean, if you live down south, all you see is South Downs Way and North Downs Way. It's pretty much you can run on road shoes with them. And then here you're like, oh, what's this bog thing? It's like, oh. But yeah, no, it's just really peaceful running around here. So it's kind of like, it just made me happier running around. And then also like I'm Malaysian, so like my country, even though I've tried to lobby them to send us to the worlds and stuff, they didn't want to bother. So I was like, so what's the point in chasing any distance? I've already got like the overall 100K record. So like I don't see any motivation in trying to do any more. So I was like, right, okay, bye. So it's just kind of because I know a lot of people in the UK, like they do 24 hours to, you know, represent GB and stuff. But like for me, if there's no point, then why am I running around in a circle? So so it's kind of a shift, but it's still kind of work in progress. There are still things that I cannot run down. So like being in the lakes is like, I don't know how people run down this lake thing. It's like, it's like, I don't know how
I think Gary feels like that a lot of the time too.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I'm putting on the brakes as soon as I see a descent. But I can tell you, these trails up north, they were super busy too during COVID. I know it wasn't just your Victoria Park. Wow, I know my local trails. All of a sudden, people just appeared from nowhere. People who I knew from where I live, all of a sudden had brand new shiny bikes, were walking on all the trails. It was super busy for pretty much a whole year. And I was curious, do you still keep an eye on the 24-hour stuff? I know we got a big, was it Verona this weekend?
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm not really that interested in it anymore because like if I don't but I do like to make sure that my friends do well. And I did toy with the idea of doing one earlier this year, but I just didn't. Like, I did the train really well, but when I got there, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is really boring.
I think once you've moved your mindset, it's a definite mindset and you have to be in the zone. And it sounds like you've like slowly been falling out of love with the laps for a little while. And then often it takes that sort of shift. You have to put yourself on the start line and be there. And then you're like, no, actually, I'm done here.
Yeah.
I know lots of 24-hour runners have come to that conclusion. Even like top internationals have been like, actually, you know, I don't have the mental capacity. I don't want to do this anymore because it is more mental than physical, isn't it? The ability to run laps and laps and laps.
Yeah, and I quite like the how you just zone into it. But at the same time, I'm like, I've got all these races that I want to do up north. Like, why am I wasting time running in circles?
I love that shift that you've had from being like the Victoria Park girl to now opening your eyes to like the trails and other races. So before we're gonna have a bit of a chat about Race Across Scotland in a minute, but before that, what else have you done sort of this year? Did you have a sort of set of lead up races before Race Across Scotland, or how had 2022 gone before the big one?
Well, it didn't, like this year didn't go to plan at all, because I tried to do that 24-hour race, and then actually, one, my mind wasn't in it, and two, like I had just started a new job and it was horrific, and like basically working weekends, working evenings, even the day before the race, like I was working till 9 o'clock at night, and that's just like, I just mentally tired. And then when I got to 90k, I was like, I'm really tired. I just want to sleep. Like, and I never feel tired like on a 24-hour race. I don't sleep on a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
And I just like, no. So yeah, and then it's just I was on the start line for Hardmoors, but I had COVID like a couple of weeks before, and it was just like I got to about 100 miles, and then I thought, no, this is stupid now. Like,
is this the Hardmoors 200?
Yeah. And again, I was feeling really fatigued. I was like, I normally don't sleep. I don't try to sleep within the first day. And like this one, I just needed to sleep. Like I just couldn't keep my eyes open. But yeah, I guess that's COVID for you. I didn't have it very badly like during the time of COVID. But then again, I was working through COVID, working till midnight a lot of the time. They're like, oh, you're at home. It's like, that's not the point. The point is I'm ill. Like I can't be leading calls till midnight. So it's kind of just really bad build up to stuff. And then and then I finally went home in June. So that was a good month off work and running, and because it's so hot at home, I hate running in the heat, and it's so humid.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I just don't enjoy heat running. Like I just really don't. I just rather sit in the aircon, go and eat food, and like sleep, see family that I haven't seen for 3.5 years. So it's kind of So for me, like it was quite a nice break to see family and things like that. So yeah, I didn't really do much in June, and then there was Scotland, which again the build up wasn't great because of work again, like weekends and evenings, and I just like I was just really surprised to get around because it was also really hot. It was about, I think the second day, I think it crept up to like 30 odd degrees, and it was
quite warm. Yeah.
Before
in Scotland,
we go into the race, can you just tell people that don't know about it, can you tell people what the race was? Because we're talking about it nonchalantly. Like, a 10K.
Yeah. So the race is run by GB Ultras, and it's the Southern Upland Way, which starts from Port Patrick.
I do like when a route has some kind of continuity to it as opposed to just going along for the sake of it. Or I do like a trail, the Cumberland Way, West Highland Way, Hardmoors, the Cleveland Way. I do like those kind of races.
Yeah, and it's from coast to coast as well, which makes it quite nice, because you start off on the coastal path, which is quite a not like standard coastal path where you kind of run along the cliffs and then you go inland, and then you get to the moorland, and then in the middle there's a really lumpy section, and then you then end up back on the coast again. So it's quite quite like these point to point ones, because it's kind of I got somewhere else, like rather than going one circle like millions of times. So and it's really well organized. Like there are not many people on the start line, because I think when the race director said that some people just didn't turn up, probably because of the forecast, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, it's just one of these places where, before this, I've never really run in Scotland. So, because ideally, if I had the perfect race build up, I would have done some recce's, rather than just rock up and like wing it. Yeah, and I just didn't realize that you don't have a path in Scotland. Like it's kind of open access land, and it's up to you how you get to the next.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, oh no, where do I go? Especially at night when you can't see anything, you're like, the cow's in the way.
But why this challenge, Alison? I'm curious why, the Hardmoors and stuff like that. Why did you hone in on this 215 miles? It's just, I look at these numbers and they just sound scary to me. But yeah, what was it about this race that attracted you to it?
So I didn't finish Hardmost, which is probably one of the biggest drivers, but also I have signed up to the Spine in January, which I still don't know why. Because I mean, it goes up it goes past from the back of my house. So I went to watch in January and thought, oh, it'll be really fun. And like now I'm thinking, oh shit. So yeah, I thought before I go and do something like that, like I needed to go and do something longer, because it's been a while since I've done anything quite as long, that is not in loops. I've done a couple of these backyard things where I got bored in the end and then just like, oh, bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in loops and rather than point to point. And my previous running experience has always been in loops for quite far, but it's not been point to point and definitely not on terrain like this. So I thought I needed to get one done so that in my head I can then mentally take on the Spine.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like a lot of it is like mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought actually the pictures look nice. Looks like quite a nice bunch of people. And then you're allowed crew for this one. So I thought, okay, let's just have all the handicaps in line, like have crew, have like, you know, pack whatever, everything and anything you want, so that I then know what to pack for the Spine. I know it's completely different conditions and weather, but at least then I know like what I can think about for the Spine. So, you know,
I like cluttering up. Have you entered any other races? Sometimes I clutter up my goal race with little build-up races to distract me from the big inevitable event. Have you got anything else between now and the Spine?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. Like, I might put stuff in, but it's not really going to be like a goal race. It's just because my feet are just still peeling from Scotland. So
oh my goodness, mate.
I'm just thinking. I've never like just so much stuff in Scotland that I had to take away to like learn, because I guess in a road race you never lose toenails or like have your feet saturated in bog for hours. So yeah, it's just all these little things that I've had to, you know, try and manage on the course as well. And it's just, yeah, I think my husband was quite worried. He was like, how come you never thought about how you tape your feet? I'm like, because I've never had foot problems ever.
Yeah,
and then it's now like, oh dear. Yeah.
How did the race pan out? A lot could, you know, you had obviously had an awesome result, but so much can happen. I imagine loads of highs and lows. How did it, as best you can, kind of talk us through the race?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's like my finest race, but like I saw the forecast and I knew it was hot even the day before, because we were just sitting having dinner and I was like, Matt, I really don't know how I'm going to run in this. Like I just really can't. And then in the morning it was really humid as well, and like when I set off I knew I had to just basically pare it all back, walk all the hills, because I was like, there's a long way to go. And yeah, it got really hot really early, and yeah, I just basically just had to so my watch, I just turned it to the map, so I didn't look at how far I was or like what pace I was doing, because I knew like if I looked at anything like that I would just get really frustrated and like annoyed. So yeah, I just ran everything to feel. At every checkpoint I just like sat down and ate, forced myself to eat, because I know that in the heat you just end up not eating properly, or like yeah, and I think they pull people out if they couldn't keep food down during the race, because it's so early on. Like if you can't eat on day one, like you yeah. So it's just kind of
were the checkpoints.
It varied. Some of them were like 10, some of them were 25. Like it was quite far away, some of them, like, and at the end, the later stages of the race, like those checkpoints felt like a long way. But then also I remember that the Spine is like each checkpoint is 50 miles away. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because it's just but I guess you carry more on the Spine and like blah, blah, blah.
That was my next question, was how much did you have to carry? Did you have a big kit list, or was it, you know,
so they had like a mandatory kit list, and I carried more than enough food. Then I have like a sweet and savory bag, and then just basically I forced myself to eat. I think I ate a lot more savory stuff because of the heat. And then at the checkpoints, they had an amazing spread. They had like mac and cheese, they had stew, they had curries. Like it was basically like the dream checkpoint. So like at the checkpoints, I sat down and ate as much as I could. And yeah, the people there were really nice, and like cups of tea, cups of coffee. Yeah, so it's kind of like a lot of admin. I felt like it was just a lot of management, self-management, which is quite different from the types of ultras that I used to do, where it's basically just get it done, like run. Yeah. I mean, in my previous ultras, like every 30 minutes I have an alarm that goes beep 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 beep, beep or like every hour, like stop, walk one lap. So it's a very different mindset change for me, and it's quite an interesting experience that I think a lot of people might be thinking, oh, this is so dull, and but it's not for me, because when you run around in laps with somebody there who's giving you water every 400 meters, like it is quite different.
It's apart from the heat, it does sound really good spine prep, actually, the way you're describing it, this kind of self-management, self-maintenance. I really like the sound of that.
And it was boggy, so that was fun. So yeah, because I mean, like if it was boggy and like you had to wear waterproof socks, then your feet kind of get protected a bit, but because it was hot, who wants to wear waterproof socks? Like,
no, that's not
the waterproof socks is just
yeah.
So
did you enjoy that ultra experience? Because I know lots of first timers in ultras get a bit of a shock of how much time they spend on their own, because you are suddenly like if you come from a background of road running or shorter races, you're never really on your own, and then often you can do ultra, especially the longer you go, you suddenly find yourself for hours by yourself. How did you find that?
Oh, I really like running on my own. Like, I mean, a lot of my training I do on my own. And during that time, I had just had an offer from another place to move jobs. So a lot of the time I was just thinking about, whether I should take it, like moving job, blah, blah, blah. So I had a lot of time to think about things, and like, I don't know, I just zone out, and I don't run with headphones, just because it's just another thing to carry, and like, I just.
No, you should. Those headphones you're wearing now are really cool, and like, you could rock quite a look on the trail. With some
you could do some work while you're running.
Yeah.
No thanks. but no, I just really like being outside and being given the last 5-6 months where I was just constantly working, like for me, just being away from my devices and things like that, it just felt so liberating. Like it's just kind of like, I'm not at work. I don't have to worry about people hounding me. I don't have to worry about like, being constantly harassed and being told like your weekend working's not enough. It's like, it's just kind of just, I don't have to think about any of that.
Yeah.
All I need to worry about is what am I going to eat on the next one, and what do I want to eat on the next one.
I love it when you can't get a phone signal. When you can't get a phone signal, there's no guilt.
And
just
I basically tell people, like, they're like, oh, why do you do these races? To get away from you.
Because of you. Because of you. Can I ask our first Patreon question of the interview from Andrew Stevenson? He says, how did you cope with any low moments on your epic run?
I had so many low moments. I think when my toenail fell off, that was a very low moment, because
that was actually during the run. The toenail, you lost it. Oh my goodness!
So I think there were blisters like at the top there and under the nail, and then I ran across a really wet field. It was all taped up, basically. Like my husband just taped it all up, and then I ran across this field, and the whole thing just off, and I was like.
That is
it feels like someone's poked a hot poker into your toe. It's a horrible.
Yeah, and I just didn't know what to do with it, because I've never had that happen to me before. And I was just like, I said to Matt, I was like, I'm so depressed, like I'm going so slowly, and this is like, I've only got, I think at that point I only like had 70 miles to go. I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to get there. And like, it was like, just he said, what, you've run all these miles, and then you're telling me you're going to drop out with 100k to go? I was like, okay, fine, I'll keep going then. It's like, he said, oh, what, because of a tiny blister?
Hand him the toenail and go, well, you take that and I'll keep running.
But yeah, he was like, what, you're just going to stop because of one small blister? I was like,
Has he ever lost a toenail?
Yes, he's lost more toenails than me because he always wears his shoes so small, and he's like, because of one toenail. I was like, okay, fine, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I had you know, your anterior tibialis on your legs, like both of them started to bump out, like they just had this massive bump over it, and I couldn't flex my foot, and I was like, man, the last 20 miles are like the road sections. This is where like I'm supposed to run.
Yeah.
And I was like so pissed off. And then he was like, well, there's only 20 miles, you might as well just get it done now. I was like, oh, okay, fine. So yeah, it's a lot of crew help, I think, because I was massively undertrained, and I know that and it's just mostly mental at this point. Because I normally don't go into these races like only doing like 60 miles a week, like and like, you know, being so stressed out. I normally before a 24-hour race, I would be doing 90, 100-mile weeks because I'm a volume person, and the volume works for me. I wouldn't be, you know, trying to wing it with like 60 miles of like shit quality and like feeling stressed out all the time. So it's just, and mentally I already knew that was like set back. So so it was tough from the start, and it's just crew, and then the people at the checkpoints going, oh, you know, like you should just keep going, you're doing really well. And I'm like, no, don't lie to me, I'm doing really shit. And they just like, I think they were just like, this girl's mental. I'm like, yeah, I know.
How much did you sleep, Alison?
I was forced to sleep every night, basically, because of the heat. I don't cope very well in the heat, so my husband every night was like, right, go and reset. Like, and the camper van that we had a shower. It was great. So I had a shower every night because like I can't sleep if I'm like really sticky, and because I sweat so much in the day. I just had a shower and then I had to sleep. So there was a lot of time wasted. But for me, I just wanted to finish because otherwise I definitely wouldn't have been at the start line of the spine or like try to attempt the spine because it's just been not a great year. So so it's quite nice to like it almost like resets your brain so that okay, you've had a sleep, you've had a shower,
how much sleep did you take?
I think 2 hours every night, 2-3 hours every night, but that did not include the shower, the eating, the coffee, and then I think on the last day I had lots of little naps because I was just so tired.
I think I'd look forward to that. If that was always from the start, I was going to sleep, I was going to shower, that would be like something to really like a checkpoint. You know, it's kind of a positive point within the race. Did you find that? Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get my shower and get clean.
Yeah, and I heard that in the spine there are checkpoints and showers, so that's me going like, oh, I've got a plan now. It's just so you know, like you're clean, you're dry, because sometimes when you're a bit wet and you try and sleep, you can't really sleep because like you lose a lot of heat. So like for me, it was quite nice to just and also because I haven't recce'd the course at all, my night miles were going to be pretty useless. I would probably get lost. So
did you have a GPX on your watch to follow or a handheld nav system?
Yeah, I do, but like it never works in the dark. Do you know what I mean? Like, because in Scotland, it's not really like a path. Sometimes GPX tells you to just go across, and all I can see is tussocks, and I'm like, is this right? Like, does this make sense? And and they always seem, So I know technically I'm going the right way, but you spend a lot of time going, oh, is this right? Like,
sure,
because it's not a path. So and everything always takes longer in the dark. I find like, especially if it's somewhere that you don't know. Whereas if I was running somewhere around here in the dark, it would be more efficient because I've at least seen it once or twice. So which is why I was really annoyed that I couldn't get the time to actually go and recce anything, because like I feel like mentally for me it would help. Just almost like a sense of familiarity, so you can like almost, I think it's in this rough direction, or like, oh, I went wrong here, or so
Well, I was going to ask any tips for listeners who are entering something big and scary, and that would be my tip: is get to know the course. But if you can't get there, any other tips maybe for listeners for a big and scary race coming up?
If you need to sleep in the night. Because I guess you might as well make a dent on inefficient time than in the day where you could be, making ground. And I guess it's just, making sure you've got the time to do something big, I guess. Like, I definitely, if I had the time and like stuff, I wouldn't be doing something so silly, like just turning up and not wrecking at all, and like, not really knowing, if my body could handle 215 miles off trail, because it's my first proper northern trail race.
Did you know the elevation and everything like that? Had you gone into that much detail on the course, or?
Yeah. I knew that the first day was fine. You didn't need poles because it was like, little lumps like around here, and I don't run with poles here. And the second day there was bits of like really like, I think is it the Lauder Hills where it's just up down, up down, up
okay.
down. So I think the hardest section is from One Lockhead, which is like the tallest village in that part of Scotland, and then from there you literally just climb down. I think there's a series of six very steep ups and downs. So that one I knew I needed my poles, so I got my poles out. And it's my first race where I actually use poles as well. So that's all. Like it was all a bit like, looking back, it's like, oh, wasn't that a bit silly? Like, you've never used poles, and then you decide you're gonna. Well, I mean, I have trained with them, but like not on anything this long. And like, I think I look back and think like, oh my God, Alison is such a joker. Like, what do you think you were doing?
Because it feeds into our next Patreon question from Louise Bradney, and she says, "Did you stick to the golden rule of don't do anything new on race day?"
I mean, it's my first trail race and first really long trail race. So there's only one way of doing it. There's only like you had to bring the poles out on this race. So I mean, I have been trying to use the poles a lot more on some training walks and like training runs. And we went to Bali in June when I was at home, and we went up this massive mountain.
Okay.
And I used my poles then as well. So like just to try and get used to like leaning forward, putting all your weight on the poles. Because I've got a friend here, Holly, who uses poles a lot in her races because she's like a mountain runner. So she's given me a few tips, and like, you need to like lean forward. And I'm like, okay, I understand. So it's just putting all of that into practice.
I think my technique is something to be desired when I'm running with poles. Because I found after I did the Lakeland 100 that although I had prepped, I'd used poles, but obviously not enough. My shoulders and my kind of triceps were really aching afterwards. Did you find that too?
I think it's called the pecs or something, pectorals. Okay. So that really hurt, but it. I don't know. I still don't think I'm that good at using poles yet, but we shall see. We'll have to use it a lot in the spine, but we shall see. I don't know.
I found I needed, because my legs were so trash, that I needed my arms to get me upstairs, but then my arms were trash too. It was everything was hurting.
You just use your bum. That's why after Scotland, I got this office chair, and like I got wheeled to the toilet from this chair because my anterior tibialis had like really inflamed and I couldn't flex my foot. So I was like, whatever, just roll myself to the toilet. I made it to the pub though, so that was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
We move on to our last Patreon question. Jonathan Zink asks, what learning will you take from the race across Scotland into the Spine this year, and will Chia be at the finish line?
There's a lot to learn, I think, from Scotland, like poles, feet, management of self, and it'll be hard because there's no crew. So they've taken notes as to like what like I'm likely to need and stuff. So hopefully And also the Spine is a very different race. It's one with a massive backpack, and I'm just like, oh, it's like probably going to be 8 kilos, and I just can't imagine carrying 8 kilos of weight on my back.
Have you started hoarding all your kit?
Yes, I've already I've borrowed a lot of kit because I don't think I would do it again. So I don't want to spend lots of money on kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of these races where it goes by my front door, so might as well just do it. But I don't think it's the type of race that I would like to do a lot, because I still quite like running, like being able to run and stuff. So yeah, after the Spine, I'm going back to doing some runnable races again. Yeah, but it's just, I feel like I need to do it. So yeah. But yeah, I don't know whether my husband will bring Chai to the finish. We'll see. We'll see what the mood will be like. Yeah, he does like running. This weird dog. He's like this big chow chow. And he just like sprints. But yeah, he's big.
He's quite
Does he go running with you?
I bring him on like 5K runs, but it's like the longest 5K you ever run. It's like 47 minutes type 5K. Because he like stops and sniffs and yeah, so it's just I'm really glad I don't have a running dog now, because it's like I definitely couldn't do this. Like,
do you have a harness or does he run free?
Depends on where it is. Like some of the woods I know here that are haven't got anything interesting, he runs free. But if it's somewhere new, I put him on a harness. But yeah, it really depends. But
we love our 4-legged friends, don't we, Eddie? Big part of our daily runs.
I've seen pictures of Chai, and I've seen more fur than dog.
Yeah, he's very muscular. He can sprint. He can really sprint, and like if he wants to sprint, like you are going with him.
Is he quite heavy? Like quite strong? Like if he pulls,
Chai, come here.
It's going to make a guest appearance.
He's also very stubborn, so he might not come.
She's
there you go. Shaking the treat.
Try on the podcast.
Here he comes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow!
He's bigger than the screen.
Like an Ewok.
Come here.
Oh, Alison's dog like the Ewok. Oh look, he's so
boy.
well sitting for a treat.
Oh my goodness me!
Oh, look, that is a big cuddly. Does he sleep on your bed with you, Alison?
No, he doesn't. He gets.
He looks very comfortable on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he comes up for attention, but that's about it. But like he sleeps on the towels. Down. Good boy.
Showing off all his
Wow,
tricks.
that's really well trained. My dog.
Yeah, only for treats. He only do it for treats. Otherwise, he doesn't do it. But yeah, he's quite a nice dog. Like, he's quite a nice recovery dog. So I'm going to start to like bring my spine pack out on my dog walks.
Talking about that, have you got you said earlier you were coached by Dave Truman, who we used to talk to quite regularly on the show. I keep meaning to message him and say back on. Super
He's
coach.
retired now. He's got lots of time.
Okay, Super Dave. We need to get Super Coach Dave back on the show. But have you sort of worked out a plan of like spine training? What does the next few months look like?
Yeah, so I think we've actually got like a full period of like, I think we've got 3 or 4 training cycles, which normally you don't really get that. And hopefully with my new job, I will have a bit more time. So yeah, I think this block is about getting back my aerobic fitness, because obviously I've been doing whatever in the last few months. Last month, basically, after race across Scotland, I didn't run for about a week and a half because my feet were just so trashed. And then got signed off sick at work. So I went to Chamonix for a week and then went to the lakes. So yeah, now we're just starting again. So yeah, it's just trying to get that back. And then we're going to do like my most hated session, which is hiking. Because he's like,
oh dear, you know that most spine is hiking.
I know, but I'm like, Dave, but I like running. He's like, no, but you hike really slow, so you need to practice some hiking.
Yes,
I'm like,
he's very wise. He's very wise.
Sounds like a good tip to me.
Yeah, but I'm just like, he's like, you're going to hate me for this, but you're going to do hiking. And I was like, I don't want to do the spine anymore. And he's like, no, you have to do it. I'm like, okay, fine. So yeah.
I
So
think
if you feel like,
if you can embrace, the height, look at it as a different version of strength work. Don't look at it as a running. Look at it as like it's a lovely day out in the hills with a pack and a flask and some cake, and try and
but
picture it differently.
But the weather's going to turn here. It's going to be
so it might be a little colder. It might be like you might need gloves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a different type of race, and he said you just need to kind of switch your mindset away from like running, because I'm like, because of the background that I used to come from, which is road running, it's all about even splits, and it's taken a long time for me to not get obsessed over this, straight line running or like negative splits. So it's kind of like sometimes I just go, no, I need to just go and run around the road. Like I just need to, bash out some quick miles. But yeah, it's tough.
It is. It's a hard transition mentally. I'm similar. I enjoy running more than hiking, but I definitely know from the Lakeland 100, every time there was walking involved, I'd just see people drift off because I'd never practiced any form of hiking or walking. So yeah, definitely. I would listen to Dave and do the hiking.
Yeah, and we're doing I'm doing the leg club next year because I got in. So he's like, "Don't worry, after the spine, you get to do some running." And
see you on the start.
Me and Dave are going to have a race off. So because we've been like I got so worried that it was like a fell race. He was like, "No, it's not." So he's brought me around a lot of the course when I've been out in the lakes. So like one day we did like a 30-mile run around the Lakeland 100 route, and I was like, oh, actually, this is quite runnable, apart from like the hiking bits to the top. And he's like, see, so you can do it. So, which is why I put the ballot entry in recently and I got in. So, yeah, it's taken a bit of convincing because I was like, oh, I don't know if I can run in the lakes. He's like, you're not actually going up anything. So, like, just put your entry in. So,
yeah.
So
oh, that's some best of luck. He's right. You do there is a lot of elevation, but for the most part, it's not super technical. And you do the passes. You don't summit anything. I think I saw once on the Lakeland 100 forum, somebody asked how many Wainwrights they would do on the Lakeland 100, and I'm like, none. It's like,
so me and Dave, we ran around the Glendatara over on Friday. So yeah, he was like, look, you run this route a lot, and this is part of the Lakeland 100. Like, chill out. I was like, okay. So yeah, he's like, and anything technical, just walk. He's like, you gain the time again when you run on the flat. And I was like, okay, fine, okay, you win. So so it'd be quite exciting start line, I think.
Cool.
Me and Dave
going to be a proper smackdown. Oh, I can't wait for this, Eddie.
Right,
that's it for me.
Yeah, let's finish with our quick 5, maybe 6. I think we are good with the 5 today, Gary.
Yeah, we've got 5 today. Cool. Okay, Alison, I didn't send you these, so there's no prep for your quick 5. We know you're a supported athlete with Innovate. You had to chuck every shoe away apart from one of their designs. Which one would it be? Which one would you keep?
I'll keep the Trailfly 270s.
270. I love that shoe. Oh my goodness.
They're the zero drop ones. They're the most versatile for me.
Do like that one. Okay, you don't have to do your 12 times 2 minutes, but what would be your favorite workout?
6-hour long run
with a shower in between.
Pace. At the end, maybe a dip in the pond. Yeah.
That sounds good. Well, you mentioned about sweet and savoury treats during the race across Scotland, or any race that you've done actually. Is there a go-to treat that you would pack away?
Do I get to pick sweet and savoury?
Oh yeah, both. Yeah.
So Percy pigs and pork scratchings.
Oh, what was the first one? Sorry, Peppa Pig. Oh, pigs.
Percy pigs.
Percy pigs and pork scratchings.
You know the M&S ones, the pink ones. Yeah.
Oh.
They're super popular, Percy pigs.
Do you not like them?
I do, yeah.
I'm not a sweet person and I'm a veggie. So you're generally, I'm afraid of nothing with you.
I must admit, I don't remember the last time I ate pork scratchings. They're probably, when you are like really just craving salt, I bet they hit the spot big time.
They're more midway kind of where you are.
They're only a midway salty snack.
Yeah, like when you feel a bit tired and you need some fats and like salt, like bad salt. It's like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I did. Not had them for a while.
I don't normally eat pork scratchings for fun. I only eat them in races. But Perth Peaks any day, I'll just have them.
It's funny how we eat trash. We absolutely trash on the trails, but generally I try and eat a relatively healthy diet. But yeah, when I hit the trail.
Oh, I love my Mackie D's. Give me a Mackie D's any day. I'll be like, oh, hello.
Okay, right. I'm not too sure, you mentioned you don't really have a distraction when you're running on the trails, but if you were to flip up your iPhone and crank up iTunes or Spotify, what would be the last song that you listen to?
Oh, I think it was some K-pop, like Korean pop music. I think it might have been, it probably was a K-pop thing because sometimes I get really bored and I just need to.
I don't think I've listened to it. I would tell you what mine is, but it was the same as last week. I've not listened to any music since last week.
No, I was just looking at mine, and I'm on a podcast, so I haven't even got a good song to sing this week. So
I very rarely listen to stuff. So but K-pop's usually my go-to because I can't really understand anything, and I just go, oh.
Yeah, my daughter used to love listening to K-pop, so I was quite familiar with that for a couple of years of her life. Last question from me. You are in the Bake Off tent, and it's going to be the signature dish or the showstopper or both. But what would be your dishes?
I got to the pre-show stage of the Bake Off. Selection.
Oh wow, awesome! Yes.
It was quite intense actually, that one. What would I make? Macarons. Like I really like macarons.
Oh yes.
And some kind of bread and like all sorts, like basically anything sweet. I'll make it all.
Macarons and bread. I was curious to the Bake Off.
You can have the macarons. I'll have the bread, Gary.
Oh, I do like the bread. Bread.
A lot of sourdough. Because it's quite therapeutic. Every few hours you go and fold the bread, and then in the morning.
So you have your starter. You've got the whole starter, so you can. Yeah. Oh, wow, that was a big lockdown thing. I think sourdough. A lot of people.
Yeah, I did it before lockdown, and then everybody wanted bits of my starter, and I was like, oh, there you go. But you can use the starter to do lots of stuff. You can make banana bread with starter, and it's really, really moreish because it's got that. It cuts out the sugary, over sugary bits of banana bread, and just gives you that ability to eat a little bit more banana bread. Sourdough brownies as well. Like they're really good. Yeah.
I do like banana bread. We had banana bread yesterday, and we didn't have any self-raising flour, so we had to use plain and use what's the stuff that you use to baking powder, and then we had no eggs, so we used yogurt instead. So it was a bit of a modified.
Was this a bit?
It was nice. I didn't complain.
As it all gone. If I make banana bread, it's gone. You get out the oven.
Yeah, when it's hot. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, 2 or 3 slices. Everybody's had a slice. It's gone. All that effort.
Yeah, that's always with bacon, isn't it? You spend ages doing it, and then
what we did this year is because we're a family of 5, so we can eat a birthday cake in like one sitting. So for our recent birthday, we just made 2 cakes, and then because the nice thing about birthdays that you have the cake the days after, don't you? Like it's like, we can still have. So we made 2 cakes. We ate 1 cake on the birthday, and then we could keep eating the cake for the rest of the week to celebrate the birthday. I don't think that's the healthiest option, but I think it's a new thing. 2 cakes.
Double cake. 2 cakes. I freeze cakes
2
sometimes.
Kids. Freeze cakes. Oh, it doesn't make it to the freezer.
Exactly. Right. Oh, Alison, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sharing us a little vignette of your race across Scotland story. And good luck with the hiking practice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you at the Spine Race start.
I'm really looking forward to 2023 for you, Alison. It's the Spine Race and the Lakeland 100 because Eddie's obviously heavily invested in the Spine and myself in the Lakeland 100. It should be great.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Should be fun.
type 2 fun, but yeah.
We'll share some tears, we'll share some miles. Good luck with all the prep, and take care of yourself, and love to chai.
Yeah.
Bye, Chai. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Alison, for coming on the show, and good luck for the Spine Challenge and all the preparation. I can't wait, Eddie, for the Smackdown. There's every time I
don't think Spine, you can smack down at the Spine. I think people have tried and it's ended in a hut in bits.
There's going to be more than ever this year or next year. Sorry, there's going to be people on the line that I have heard of and a little bit invested in. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Hey, Gary. Have you checked out on Facebook our Super Sapiens competition that's running? The first time ever we've had a competition from an interviewee. It's really exciting. I feel like we're professional at last. And also I'm laughing so much. I dipping in and out of people's comments about normally what they've told the story and then they've tagged their crew in of a time they've ended up a dribbling mess and someone's had to save them and then the crew's come in and gone, oh yeah,
oh yes,
I remember that. Go over on Facebook if you want to know what we're talking about. There is a chance to win. If you haven't listened to it yet, get a move on. Last week we chatted to Super Sapiens and introduced the concept of some blood glucose monitoring patches. They've kindly given us 3 patches, which we will give to 2 lucky winners. All you need to do, go and read the post on Facebook and make a comment or post a picture. There's some funny pictures. It doesn't need a picture though, because sometimes these incidences have not been pictured. Sometimes the words tell a good enough story of the biggest sugar crash and its competition and its consequences. Competition closes 11th of October, so plenty of time to remember and relive those terrible moments. But most of the stories on there so far are really funny. The seal one. I can't remember who posted. Somebody took
missed that one.
Anyway, yeah, go and, if anything, if you haven't ever had a sugar crash, go and read some of the comments because they're really funny as well. Look forward to lots more of them flooding in. It's a great prize and a really great chance if you're looking at your wanting to work on your fueling and have a go with one of these patches. Here's your opportunity.
London Marathon this weekend, Eddie. I should have been there.
Oh, I was wondering if you might be a bit sad that you weren't there.
Yeah, I cancelled the accommodation and it felt a bit real. I was going to go, I kind of thought I'll go and because I think last year I said I was going to do it and GoPro it. But because I wasn't racing it this year or going for a time, if I did it, I thought, yeah, I could just run around with my GoPro and pop it up on YouTube, like a real life London Marathon. And I thought, no, but we've got rail strikes. So maybe I've dodged a lot of hassle. Yeah. So I think Saturday is our rail strike. So whether I could have physically got there or not, I don't know. But yeah, best of luck everybody doing the London Marathon. I wish I was there with you. Part of me thinks I might still chuck my name in the hat again for next year. It's all county tops. No, I won't. Stay away from it, Gary, because all county tops is in there. So.
I expect lots of people listening have got places or perhaps are supporting people. Or I love watching it on the TV, that music.
Oh, it's such a brilliant event. Such a brilliant event.
It's quite nice at this time of year when things are a bit like there's not a lot on. So it's quite nice that actually there's something like this on, something to look forward to. Good luck.
Best of luck, everyone. To on the line there. I'm sure loads of our listeners, same as the Great North Run, such a big event that inevitably quite a lot of our listeners will be taking part. I wonder if any of our listeners will be listening to the podcast when they're taking part.
We love that. Don't. You should be looking at your heart rate and working until blood comes out of your eyeballs. Come on.
Another race I saw, which I thought looked awesome, is the Hodgson Brothers Mountain Relay. It's a fell running relay race. Started life as the Ian Hodgson Mountain Relay, and it's set in the heart of the Lake District Fells. Takes place every year on the first Sunday of October. About 70 teams from across the country. I think that's a team of 8. Barely North of England runners, and it's the longest running mountain relay in the country. I've never heard of this event.
Never heard of it. It sounds awesome. I wonder what the course is. I think I know. I think there's different legs and different distances as well. Yeah. You could sort of preload your team, couldn't you? And go like, right, this is the rocky bit. You do that bit. This is the steep bit. Here's the running bit.
Well, we've entered a team in the Hormuz 110 next year. We've entered a relay team. So our Thirsty Thursday crew, and similar thing. We're like, well, someone's better on the hills, so they're going to do the Three Sisters and all that section. And someone who's a bit quicker on the roads might maybe do around Scarborough and stuff like that. So same kind of thing. And the idea of a relay where you're all invested together as a team.
I love it.
That sounds awesome. And yeah, over on the Fells, I hope they got good weather because that will make a big difference. But yeah, best of luck, everybody. So when is your next race, Eddie?
It's tonight, Gary. It's tonight. It's the time trial tonight. Eddie, just hang on. Just hang on. There is 5 of us in the team this time, whereas there was 4 last week and only 4 to count. Oh, I don't want to be dropped and then just be the luck.
Do you find like mentally you just not got rid of, but you just completed one race and it's like, wow, you're thinking about the next race?
No, I'm good at compartmentalizing. So I get it done on Tuesday and then I don't worry about it again until the next Tuesday when I start to feel nauseous again. Otherwise, it's too much. It can't take away from the running, Gary. That's got to be the rules, hasn't it? I don't have time as well. I don't have time for that sort of thing. So yeah, another race tonight. So I didn't do my hill reps yesterday because I slotted in my moderate run on Sunday. So I've just done lots of miles. Okay. And I did a bit of little biking yesterday, and I feel good. I feel fine. Apart from it's absolutely hooning it down with rain here, and it's like sleety rain. And I went running for an hour and a half in it a bit this morning, and I feel chilled to my bone.
Eddie, that's great.
Yeah, so I'm going to get my recovery gun out. I'm going to have a big lunch and try and get my muscles. They've gone all old lady. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to do my hill reps, see how I feel, probably on Thursday, hill reps. Then I haven't looked at the weather, but whatever the weather, I'm going to go out. I'm loving my Dry Max socks. I haven't really had it. Dry Max very kindly sent us some socks, maybe a year ago, Gary. And I not really had to wear them all. I haven't had to wear them all summer because it's been so hot and dry. But this week I've literally worn them. I haven't even washed them. I just hang them up to dry. Is that gross?
It's pretty good. It's like a foot product.
Okay, I'll maybe give them a watch. I thought you'd go, no, that's fine, knowing your grubby tendencies. But I've been wearing this, and my feet have been so toasty warm. Went through one really deep puddle, rubber deep, and I did feel the cold, but then it goes because the puddles here are freaking freezing because there's this alpine water. But my feet have been, as your feet just are toasty. I've never worn waterproof, so I'm definitely in the winter. I'm wearing them the whole.
They are the best. My memory of waterproof socks was probably not fair. I used to have some sealskins quite a few years ago, and they didn't feel too comfortable, to be honest. And they didn't really keep my feet dry.
No, the sealskin ones, I probably upgraded them now. We shouldn't.
Yeah, this was that could be 8 years ago, but these ones were awesome.
Years ago. These ones are great. I'm enjoying that. I've also put an order in, which again, Gran and Grandpa Sutton are bringing over. So I'm going knee high.
You have to stop talking about this. They're going to get stopped, Eddie.
I thought you were going to say they're going to get so much stuff to bring over from everybody else that listens. Anyone else want any deliveries? So I'm going to go out for a long run, even though the weather is going to be heinous on Friday. I'm going to go out for a 5-hour-ish one with my socks. Suck it up, Eddie. Get my waterproof gloves on. But I tell you what, would that be a continuous loop, or do you have like a little? Yes, so I've got a continuous. It's quite tricky around here to make because we live in because we have lots of mountains, but lots of the mountains you can go up, but you have to come back down again. There's sort of lots and lots of peaks, but there is a couple of loops I can do. I'm going to do my favorite loop. It's going to be freezing and it's going to be wet, but it's going to be perfect practice. And it'll be the last time I do a long run without a pack. So I'm going to do some jumps, some high skips, enjoy a 9-minute mile before
Instagram shots.
Instagram shots, what else? So that's my week, and then next week we get serious, even more serious than I already am.
Oh, that sounds good.
What about you, Gaza?
Hopefully a better week than last week.
You should have your weeks. I thought about this. Like, what can I say to Gary? Because you did you beat yourself up about their sessions, but you still got out, you got running. It's not a bad week just because you were really busy. You had other stuff that you did really well.
Well, I think I mentioned that on the vlog. Look, I did manage 2 runs a day. It wasn't like I didn't do anything.
Over yourself. Jeez.
You know, I wondered when I'm doing these vlogs, I just thinking, am I a narcissist? This person shoving myself out there on. I asked my wife, Lisa, am I a narcissist? She was like, no, I don't think so. Not yet. So yeah, hopefully it's a slightly better week, and I'm pretty sure it's nailed on a little tour to Helvellyn recce on Saturday too.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Myself, Robbo and Aaron parked up at Glenridding and doing just the loop section of the course. So that will be awesome. What I did do, which was yesterday actually, Alicia and I went off for a love run, which was nice.
This is a new thing I've seen popping up over on
Hashtag love run.
Hashtag love run. Now, if you do a love run, you must make sure you use the love heart emoji when describing the love run to make sure that everyone knows it was a love run. If you have a selfie as well with your lover when you're running, you can add that too to just finish off.
Yeah. But it was lovely. You know, normally when I'm home alone and the kids aren't, me and Lisa are home and the kids aren't there, we dash upstairs and, you know, bit of action. But no, I got the harness and the poo bags and went out for a run. It was great.
You don't Strava the action going upstairs, you just Strava the run this time.
So yeah, it was awesome though. I spent a few 10k I think we did, and went out a scone and a coffee.
I was only saying to Bryn the other day, it won't be long until we are absolute favorite thing to do together, apart from the obvious. Being married to whatever 20 years is not our favorite thing anymore, but is to, if we drop the kids and we get to go and ski together, sans enfants, no children, and we do that quite a bit, so that's fun. But if we get a coffee, that is the best.
I love it. If I go to the seaside and I see a couple just parked up overlooking the sea with a flask of tea,
it's the dream.
Looks wonderful.
I sometimes find love runs a bit annoying because Bryn only runs a few times a week, and he half shoulders me all the way and goes, "You're right,
that's
you're
okay."
And I'm like, you don't know. I pushed a trolley for 5 hours. I'm quite tired.
Well, I get the advantage. I've got Rex, and he does definitely.
Don't give her Rex.
She doesn't like running with Rex. Too aggressive.
He's not aggressive, that little love pup.
But yeah, it was awesome. And just about a week and a nice recce over at the lakes. And then I'm Marshall again. Actually, I've got a second chance to marshal it for the Trail Outlaw guys up at Penshaw 10k. So
are they going to say again, sorry, your name's not on the list? Do you think actually
they don't want me there? Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see you next week. So that'd be good. Yeah, if you see me there, say hello, and I'll say hello to you guys too. Should get a t-shirt, Guy from the Podcast. One side will be Guy from the Podcast, the other side will be #LoveRun.
You can only wear that when you go on the #LoveRun. Popped over to iTunes. I thought, let's see if we've got any reviews. Flooded in. I tell you, there's so many. Well, we could almost read 2, but let's not be greedy in case we don't get any more for many, many months. Do you want to pick one?
Well, because I will lose track, let's just go from the top down.
Yes, sensible. It's not going outside the box this week.
Top running podcast, 5 stars. Somehow I only discovered this podcast recently and I'm absolutely loving it. Lots of top quality running content, which has been genuinely helpful for me. But it's also really personal, which makes it really enjoyable to listen to. I'm listening each week, as well as catching up on the many episodes in the back catalogue. Thanks for making this. Oh, how would you pronounce that? Fleggle?
Fleggle, Fleggy, Flemmy.
Yeah. By Apple Podcasts. If you do one more, go on then.
Oh, you can't help yourself. Should we do one more? Okay, well, this is good because it actually carries on to what we were just talking about. Inspiring and hilarious. That's how I like to describe myself, Gary. Inspiring and hilarious. 5 stars. I love this podcast. Been listening for a few months and I think it gets better every week. Too right, it does. Eddie's journey back from injury, I know, was an amazing example of how to do it. I'm not sure it was. With hard work, dedication and patience. Thanks. Especially as I was also injured at the time. Oh no. Hope you're better now. Gary's poo story after the Red Bull was hilarious. Such a variety of guests covering such a range of topics. Also, I am definitely naming any run I do with my husband as a love run. Yeah, you are. Just run, so don't start struggling with other activities like Gary. 2005 grad. That's what it says. Who left that? Not sure that is actually right, but apologies if we missed your names out. But thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and leaving us reviews. We love reading them, and hope you enjoy listening to them as well.
There's definitely some momentum with the love run, Eddie. Could this be a new feature?
Featured on my love run. What we did on our love run. This is going. Stop it now. End this now.
Oh, wow. Well, that was episode 109. Thanks for listening, everybody. And thank you to Chia Charge for continuing to support the show, sending bars to guests, competition winners, keeping Eddie and I fueled in our adventures, and genuinely being an all-round super supporter. Everybody out on the trails. My name's Gary Thwaites.
I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.